Please could we be given warning at the beginning of a programme if there's going to be anything about the Beatles, as all Beatle fans can make sure to listen, and have a chance to ring up other fans to make sure they are also listening.
Hi everybody, this is John here.
This is Paul,
George,
and Ringo.
And we're very happy to be on your programme once again.
Hello everyone, this is Steve Marinucci, and we haven't done a Beatles News Briefs podcast in a while, but we're going to just give you a little bit of the press conference that Ringo had on January 15th at the Ryman Auditorium in the middle of performing 2 shows and taping a TV special. So anyway, he and Burnett talked to the media and took questions from the press, although the questions that a lot of us submitted were not used. He only used a few questions. So we're going to feature some clips here. And the first one, he talks about how the album came together.
So you know, that's T-Bone and I'm Ringo.
For Ringo, what was the inspiration behind your new country album, Look Up?
T-Bone was. He was the inspiration because I met him at this party we were at, and I've met him many times, but this was just getting together. And, hi, what are you doing? What are you doing? I said, oh, I'm making EPs. And I thought, well, if you've got a song, send me the files. And he sent me the song, and it's the most beautiful country track I've heard in many years. It's so sort of 50s country. And so I thought, well, I'll just make a country EP now. Most of them are like pop rock. And then he came to LA, and we were chatting, and I thought, I'm going to ask him to do an EP. Will he produce it? And then I asked him, do you got any songs? He said, yeah, I got songs. And he had them in his pocket. He said, 9. So I said, well, let's make an album. And that's how it all happened.
Describe how you two became friends, what you bonded over, and what the friendship has meant to you and why you're so eager to collaborate with each other.
Well, we bonded as friends, actually, in the 70s, because I was resident in LA for a while, and I had a lot of parties, and any party I had, he was there. And I did not invite him once. But he would be there, and he'd come with one of the band, leave on one of them. And so we got to know each other a little bit. But only like hi. We didn't have any real conversation. And that's how this record came about, because Olivia was reading poems for George at the Marquee, the Sunset Marquee Hotel. And I was there, and he was there, and so a lot of other people were there. How are you doing? What's going on? Well, I'm doing this. And if you've got a song that you think would be good for me, send it down. And that's how it started. And then he went to Nashville, and you carry on.
Well, yeah, that's about it, really.
What more could you say about the friendship?
Oh, I love the man.
I was talking to T-Bone.
I don't
Yes.
care who you talk to. I'm answering.
Well,
I can't just point over here.
I'm glad to be getting to be friends with Ringo, I have to say. And I have to say, too, that, American music, rock and roll, I felt when I was about, in 1957, I was 8 years old, 9 years old, and a friend played me a Jerry Lee Lewis record, a whole lot of shaking going on. And I remember listening to it over and over again, rolling around on the floor, laughing at the explosion of freedom and love and just everything that was in that record. And it was very different from Fort Worth in the 50s, which was very, I would say, rigid. It was an uptight kind of scene I was living in. And I thought, oh, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. And by 1959, that whole rock and roll revolution was over. Jerry Lee was disgraced. Elvis was in the army. Little Richard was in the ministry. Buddy Holly had been killed in a plane crash. Eddie Cochran had been killed in a car wreck. And I thought, oh, this isn't what I want to do with my life. It's, that's over. Rock and roll's a fait accompli. And then the Beatles came and played in New York in 1964, February of '64. And they gave us back our music at that point. And they opened doors and windows that so many of us have walked through or climbed through over the years. And so I've got this deep gratitude to all those cats, and Ringo in particular. The gift that they've given us, that he's given us, is immeasurable. So, to even get to be friendly with Ringo means a tremendous amount to me, I gotta say.
What is it that you've loved all these years about country music? That is, what is it about country that spoke to you at a young age and stayed with you all your life?
It was emotional. It's emotional music when I started listening to it. And I'm quite an emotional person myself. So, I like to say in the 50s, every country song was either "The wife's left, the dog's dead," or "I need some money for the jukebox." It was always a problem. And all those great singers around. I mean, besides Hank Williams, we all saw it with him, or I did. And, Hank Snow from Canada. It's weird, I remember him so well. He did the
great.
8-wheel. He was more country than a lot of country guys. And so, yeah, Kitty Wells. Whew, who can sing better than Kitty Wells? All that emotion. And that, it was great. So that's why I loved it. But I also loved the blues, and I loved pop music of the day. All those names, Jerry Lee and that. I wanted like that dream as a kid. If I had a voice, I'd like to sound like Jerry Lee, actually, personally, or Al Hibbler. You tell me what's happening. And Eddie Cochran. I have a story about Eddie Cochran that Ringo, Rory and the Hurricanes, which I was part of, we were going to play this gig in Liverpool, and all the local bands were there, but just happened to be that Rory and the Hurricanes, we were the top band. And Eddie Cochran hit the tree, he died. But, as teenagers, we were like, well, he could have waited till after the gig. That's what you like as an 18-year-old. I've had 3 of them myself. I know exactly what it's like. And, yeah, all great. Eddie was great. He brought a lot of energy to everything. And Buddy was beautiful.
In this final clip, Ringo talks about his trademark of peace and love.
Your album transmits joy. Do you think that in such a chaotic world there is a need for more music like this?
I think there's always a need for music, and there's always a need for joy. But the world, keeps going round, and there's a lot of craziness and violence and people making demands on other people. And that's the world we all know. I mean, I was born in 1940. There's a lot of people out there didn't like us. So it's part of our world. It's a pity, but I do this and hoping someone will do it too, and then there's 2 of us done it. I can't say, do this, I can't demand it. I just do it. Well done, lady. You can always tell when the fingers go up. And, that's my way of doing it, really. It's like, because it translates into every language. It's just peace and love.
Well, that's the last clip from Ringo's Zoom press conference that we attended. We thank you for listening. We thank Rockabella and Beautiful Day Media for providing the audio that we were able to use in this podcast. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe, and we hope to bring you something again soon. Take care, everyone.
Be seeing you.
Keep that one. Mark it fab.